Hi everybody. So I I had this idea. I wanted to do I saw this map, this Cities Skylines Catan map, and I love Catan. I one time I went up to the mountains with my family and brought Catan and got literally everybody hooked on it. My mom was calling me up and she's like, "Hey, what was that game that we played? You know, the one with the resource management stuff." And then long story short, she bought Catan, the Seafarers, and then pirates, and I make everybody play it when we play board games. But it's it's the quintessential Euro game, board game. But so I'm just gonna do a time lapse. I'm not that good of a Cities player. I feel like it's kind of hard to make it entertaining too. So I'm just gonna do a time lapse of this thing that I did. But I for a long time I wanted to do an Epcot, I went to Florida recently and I visited some friends, and the topic came up because they worked for the wrap. They worked at one of the Disney hotels, Swan and Dolphin, which is connected to Epcot. They have a ferry that goes back and forth, and to the park. You can stay in the hotel and then you have a little boat that takes you to the park. But the original idea for Epcot was Walt called it the Experimental Prototype City of Tomorrow. And I always thought it was a cool idea, to have a this wagon wheel kind of design for a city, where the city center is literally the center. It's the center of the wagon wheel. And there are a lot of cities where they try to do that with the subways, to kind of make the subways more efficient, at moving people. What's a good example? Boston's subway versus New York. I just think it's just way better. Or Shanghai versus Beijing. Personally, I think there's a huge difference. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to kind of set up those roads so that I have those wagon wheel kind of spokes, and then later on I go in and I make a big roundabout in the middle of the city. I don't think I even have roundabouts unlocked at this point. So this is vanilla. This is I think I have the only mod that I have on right now is the automatic bulldozer thing, so no unlimited money, no, I think I'm gonna have to move it on later to make these interchanges. You can see that the really complex interchanges with the rail system and the way that the islands connect and all that, they're pretty complex, and I don't know if I could even do that on my own, how to figure out how they made those, because if you look at the other islands, they have different interchange connections. So I think that I will probably use move it and then maybe just copy paste the interchanges that are on this island and put them on the other islands, or it's kind of a cop out. or I might try and do my own complex interchange. I had the idea of doing like a highway roundabout, or like a raised highway roundabout thing for an interchange, but so yeah, just getting water and power in at this point. I think I was struggling to even get power lines that would go through, without using like Move It or Anarchy or anything like that, to try and connect power. So I ended up tucking in windmills like around, trying to keep them, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my industry next to the highways, like right by the interchanges, so that it should help with traffic flow, and also industry doesn't mind pollution, noise pollution, air pollution, whatever from highways. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here, is I'm throwing in some industrial, kind of setting up more wagon wheel spokes, and like how I want to divide up. And the main roads in the middle are going to end up being one ways, and then I haven't gotten that far yet, but I think maybe I might upgrade those to highways or something, maybe like avenues with trolleys or whatever. Yeah, speaking of Florida, Tampa, they have a really nice mass transit system. They have these nice little trolleys, and I think they do a pretty good job of managing traffic in Tampa. Like they have trolleys that remind me of the New Orleans trolleys, but they just do like a way better job. Yeah, so I think I ran out of money, or no, I wanted to get into the positive. I wanted people to move in and get into the positive, and with my budget. I might try and do something similar, like do a like an Epcot or something. But this works. Like if you look at Walt's like original designs for what Epcot was supposed to look like, first of all, they're pretty dissimilar to the actual park itself. Like the idea of like my friends, when they think of Epcot, like they think Epcot, you have to be from the country. Like they work for Disney. They know all the rules. Like you can't grow a beard while you're working there. That one's true. You can't say I don't know to a guest. That one's true. You have to say I'll find out. You can never say I don't know. There's like a few like weird Disney rules, like you can't grow a beard while you're working at the hotel. You have to grow it while you're on vacation, and then like come back with one, and then you can have it. You can just keep it. But the original Epcot was a futuristic city, and it was supposed to be an actual city. And then the people that lived in it, everything was supposed to be completely state of the art, and it was supposed to stay state of the art forever. Like it was always supposed to be like a showcase kind of city, for like city of tomorrow, like for industry, and people could showcase like what they could do, with prototype like modern products and industry and things like that. And I was trying to keep my services kind of centrally located, like police and fire and stuff like that, so that and also have good access to roads. I think that later I ended up putting the fire, like I kind of did like one fire station in like each spoke of the wagon wheel, but I ended up putting them closer to the main arteries so that they could get places faster. But the cool thing is that I have not run into any traffic problems yet with this design, and I think it speaks to the efficiency of the wagon wheel system. And I'm not that good at a Cities player. Like I don't know how many hours I have into it. Like maybe, I don't know, like less than 100. And I always run into serious traffic problems. Like that's always what turns me off, is like I'll get a big city and then it just like turns into this congested mess, and it just hits a little bit too close to home. It's like, because I live in Denver, and like traffic is a thing. It's not as bad as like LA, or I don't know, like Manhattan, places like that. It almost costs as much, but like traffic here sucks. It's miserable, especially like certain times of day, or like all day long on the main through on I-25. It just sucks. It's the worst. Yeah, in my dreams, I can build a city that has like perfect traffic management. So yeah, I mean, if you're a veteran Cities player, like I'm just kind of going through the motions, like upgrading things, and I think I wanted to put in some parks, health and human services, like fire departments. Yeah, there goes the fire department, and clinics, things like that. I think I wanted to put the fire department next to the industry so that so they could put out fires in my industry. I think that this section of industry, I ended up turning it into farms, because if you look at the islands have different resources, and I think that this, like there's a really forested island that would be perfect for foresting industry, but I think that I thought that farms were like the most apropos for this island, since it's totally mixed type of industry. And like that's not unrealistic. Like if you look at like a lot of metropolitan cities, they don't want like heavy polluting industry right next to houses, but they'll allow you to have a farm, or allow you to have like horses and things like that, as far as like zoning goes. And that's not everywhere. Like they don't, most metropolitan cities, you cannot have a horse in the middle of the city. It's just like it's against the rules. But yeah, like we're just going through the motions here. In fact, I think I'm gonna put a jump cut in here, and then I'll jump ahead to where I have like where I'm working on the roundabout. I'm working on the filling out more of the sections of the wagon wheels. So here I'm I've got more of my pie slices done, and then I'm trying to set up the roundabout. So I think I'm just struggling with getting it centered. Like I want it to be as centered as possible, and like originally I was thinking, like if this is like a stopgap measure, I'm just gonna put like a roundabout in the middle, and then I'll fix it later. Like that's what the roads over there originally were. Well, but now I'm getting serious about my wagon wheel design. So yeah, I think that I try and like line everything up really well so that, or like zoom out, and eyeball it, and so that circle is like perfectly circled. But I ended up really liking the in Skylines, I think that the rules are that you need about like 2/3 or like twice as much residential as your industry and commercial combined. So it's like if you add up all of your space in your city that's for industry and commercial, then that's exactly how much residential you should have, about like roughly, I think. So I ended up like really liking the industrial design, but then I wanted to make like a pie slice that was like all residential. So I think that I did that with the top pie slice. But yeah, here I am just like struggling with the roundabouts again. I'm not sure how I wanted those to line up. Like, I think that, yeah, what I did was I connected it somewhere, or like kind of eyeballed it, tried to make it like perfectly centered, or as perfectly centered as I could. And then like the road to the left where it lines up, that's actually needs to be centered, and then the roads that are going like north south need to be in the middle of the two like highway kind of, or like one way main avenue kind of connections. Well, like everything lined up, and I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, so but still like really happy with the design so far, with how things look. And yeah, and I think I put commercial into the little spokes of the wheel, like temporarily at least, because people in real cities, like people don't like to have to go very far to shop. Like you wouldn't want to just, if you wanted to go out and get a taco, you wouldn't want to have to go downtown just to get a stupid taco. Like you would want to be able to go down the street and get a taco, like you get it, right? Or if you want to go to Sebi, then you just go to Sebi. You don't have to go downtown to go to Sebi to get gas or whatever. But yeah, so I think I ended up leaving the top pie slice as like all residential. I think that further on it ended up being completely residential, but I did like the layout with the way it is on the left pie slice there. I liked how the industry was like right next to the highway, and like I never had any traffic problems with industry, or haven't yet. And this island gets pretty developed eventually. Yeah, but so far so good as far as traffic goes. And like industry in Cities Skylines is notorious. Like the traffic is really, really bad, around industry. It just always is that way. So I'm finally getting my my education stuff in, or my trying to get high schools and then colleges going. I think that you need like a high school diploma to work in retail, but you can get with an elementary school education, you can get a job in a factory in cities. But also, I think that, and I might be wrong about this, like, I think that some types of industry are just really disgusting and dirty. But, like, supposedly, I think, like, the more you upgrade your, like, health and human services, you know, like, you have access to parks and fire departments and healthcare and schools and all that stuff. Supposedly, I think that the industry, it gets cleaner. You know, it's like it isn't just all smokestacks belching out pollution. It's like I picture like the 1800s, you know, like Oliver Twist or something, like, you know, just cities like covered in filth and like children working in factories with who can't read. This is why we have like unions and child labor laws in this country. But yeah, so going off on a tangent. Yeah, so starting to get kind of more serious about the traffic. Well, you know, planning ahead. Getting my wagon wheel design filled out more, and I'm not making connections for every single street because I mean, the plan is that these main avenues are going to handle a ton of traffic. So the less like stoplights that they have on them, the better. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of like get those set up in advance, just planning ahead for traffic. And then the areas that do have high traffic are going to be, well, places that would prefer to have more traffic, like a commercial. And then yeah, I think that also in Skylines, like, even when you have very high density commercial, if you have like noise pollution from roads and stuff like that, it'll make people sick. So you still want, even when you get up there and you have like, you know, high-rise apartment buildings or whatever, your people will still not want to have noise. And I mean, they're always going to want like parks and things like that close to them, but you know, even when you have like skyscraper apartments and stuff, people still can't tolerate being close to high density commercial. Like, they would rather be closer, living actually having their homes closer to like low density commercial. Again, like, I don't pretend to be very good at this game, but in my experience, but yeah, so for a while here, I think I'm like putting off building more industry because it's just filthy, and I don't, you know, it makes people sick and stuff. Yeah, just checking how good my fire response is. I don't think that I even have a police station at this point. I don't think that there's like any kind of crime or any noticeable crime. And oh yeah, death care. You need death care. It's funny, like, people are dying before they're, or like the first wave of people in my city are dying before they're committing any crimes. A couple of elementary schools going at this point, I think, or trying to get more than one going. I don't even know like cash. But yeah, this format, these little pockets that make up like the kind of like spider's web seem to work pretty well for me. So I'm hitting my milestones, just keeping going with the format that I've got going, filling out my my wagon wheel spokes, and I'm trying to, I think, well, maybe I am doing power like kind of piecemeal, but I'm trying to keep any kind of like nasty coal power plant or oil power plant out of the city. I'm using like all wind and water, renewable resources. Trump would be proud. I already said that windmills cause cancer. It's crazy to think how big of an idiot we are running our country. Not to get political. I shouldn't do that on YouTube. But yeah, just keeping going with the same format, and then I think I finally broke down, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to make some more discussing industry. So I tried to sort of segregate things, like tried to keep my residential clean, and then just make a filthy pie slice for industry. And I didn't end up doing that. I think I ended up doing something with it later. Well, I think that was the first farming. Like, there ended up being a lot of industry over there, and then that was the first area that I turned into farming industry. Yeah, if you look at the roundabout, it's a little bit wonky, but it's not bad. It's actually, things line up pretty well as I keep going and making more spokes in the wagon wheel. Trying to, put in some parks. I think that's one of the rules in Skylines. It's like if people aren't happy, put a park in it. Put a park somewhere, and it like really it seems to like always increase demand for whatever. If you just make things nicer with some parks. So I think I'm just like going crazy, plopping down parks everywhere. And then, that includes industry too. It seems like if you plop down parks in industry, it's like you'll see these little plazas that they have trees in them, and like the trees, nothing grows there. Like, it's all dead, but they seem to like it. They're happy. It seems to help them upgrade if they have parks, even if they're so polluted that nothing can grow in them. So yeah, I'm keeping going with developing the industrial areas, and then also kind of filling out more of the sections of the wagon wheels, so that I can cram more stuff in there. And I think that if you were like with this island, I did try and cram in as much stuff as I could. Like I tried to upgrade things and cram in as much stuff into the island in the city center as much as I could before I even attempted to expand. Because it's first of all, I didn't know how to. I was like putting off making interchange systems, like making on-ramps and off-ramps for the highways, because I wasn't sure how I was going to do that. And then also I wanted to make sure that I had like a good economic engine, like a battery to kind of power developing the rest of the islands. And then I had ideas like, I'm gonna make one island like totally forest industry, like my tree island, and having that be a focus on that island, like in Catan, like where you expand to a node with the idea that that's what you're going to do there. You're going to get lumber from that area, or you're going to get sheep or wheat. Like that's the idea. But yeah, at this point, I think it's just like kind of like going through the motions, upgrading things. Okay, yeah, plopping down parks, trying to make it a little bit nicer for the people, and also, so that they'll upgrade things. I think I had a lot of demand at this point, and I wasn't quite sure. I was like kind of scrambling to fill in places to meet some of the demand for just everything, residential, commercial, industry. But so that's another thing too, is that when you get further along in Skylines, I think that I was trying to save up for a college. I think that I can have a college at this point, but I ended up getting focused on sort of filling out the wagon wheel and creating, like, getting things laid out how I wanted them, and before I tried to plop down a college. And but when you have educated workers, when you have college educated workers, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they have to make more money. They have to make more money in taxes and stuff like that. When you have educated workers, I mean, there's no way that they can't. And then also they can work in offices, and that counts as industry. Like, I don't know, like doing business management, healthcare consulting, or like graphic design. That's what I do. But yeah, like I think I think that at this point I'm just trying to make sure that I have my wagon wheel filled out. So I'm just kind of like going through and copy pasting. I mean, it's kind of like I'm on autopilot right now, just setting up the each spoke to have the industry on the outside where it has easy access to highways, hitting my milestones, and then setting up the commercial so that the residential has access to it, and then putting it in like high traffic areas, or as like a buffer zone, in between the industry and the residential. And then I'm starting to zone my industry now. And then I think this is where I start doing farming here, because I think that the pollution was just getting to me. I mean, it's depressing just to look at it. It's disgusting. But yeah, like the forest industry and farms do not create the same kind of pollution. I don't know about high tech. I don't know like what exactly. It seems like I never really get that far. Like I always end up like starting over by the time I'm ready to do some like high tech stuff because of my traffic problems. That's where I always get frustrated and quit. But yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to do my stupid experimental prototype City of Tomorrow like wagon wheel thing for a while, and then like I actually like had a dream about it, like or like when you're like lying up at night and you're like thinking about like I should really do that. But yeah, the zoning does make a huge difference as far as the pollution goes, and I think that, yeah, so I'm also trying to make sure that everything lines up correctly, like with the roads, so that the spokes are as straight as possible. And but yeah, I'm gonna cut ahead to, yeah, I wanted to put a Statue of Liberty in the middle. I wanted to put some kind of cool landmark in the middle of the city. But I'm gonna cut ahead to where I zone everything for farming. So I've got all of my industry actually zoned, and yeah, do it. Click on it. Make it farming. Yeah, make it all farming. But you can see, like, immediately, like when you watch, you can see like how quickly all of the pollution like clears up, and it just looks like so much better immediately. And then you see like in the little, I don't know what I call it, like the Twitter, the twit stream, people are like, oh, thank you, Mayor. Like, that's so much nicer to look at corn farms than smokestacks, you know. And I agree. Plus, like, people got to eat, you know. Like, I don't know what they're making in there. It's just like burning garbage or something, like throwing tires on a fire, and then it like comes out of the top. I mean, who knows? Who knows what they even make there? It's disgusting, though. I do have a couple of incineration plants going. I had some trash issues. My landfills were just overflowing. But if you can see just immediately the pollution is just like so much better. Things are growing, and it just looks so much nicer with some farms instead of like heavy industry. Maybe oil refineries. That's the only thing that I could think of that really like looks like that and stinks, you know. And man, like where my dad is from in Texas, it's disgusting. It's like, you know, like in Houston, I've seen it where they'll have like an oil refinery like down the street from a school, you know, and it smells awful. Nothing against oil and gas. It's just that, like, man, it stinks, and you do not want it next to an elementary school. And for some reason, they think it's, you know, fine. But yeah. So not in my city, not in Catan. We're better at pet zoning here. So yeah, you can see that I have my dense residential, dense commercial, offices, etc., all unlocked. So I'm going through and I'm making some dense commercial zones to meet the demand for residential, because there's a pretty high residential demand, plenty of jobs to go around, etc. And I'm doing it in my like city center area, because I want to kind of like test and see how oh yeah, plopping I think is that the college? Yeah, it's the college. Plopping the college down, so that I can finally get some offices going, like some educated workforce, so that everybody doesn't just work in the factory or in retail. Sounds nightmarish. It's like that's the only thing that there is to do is like go to the mall or like work in the factory. Talk about depressing. Those kids in the community college. So yeah, we got our first college going, but the farms, well, yeah, I'm still, I think I decided to do everything farming, all of my industrial districts, to make them farming. They have either like overeducated workers, like kids are going to elementary school. Or I don't know. They're going to high school. The kids are going to high school. We needed a community college, so they can get those, you know, that good those good jobs, working in like the dentist office or whatever. Yeah, so I think I'm trying to. I've got my first island filled out, and then I'm trying to like look around and then probably figure out how the hell I'm gonna do the highway interchanges. But yeah, this layout works really well. I can attest to. I think I make like one pie slice that's like all commercial and offices, and then it's and it has some dense commercial in it that's kind of a little bit more away from the residential, like the houses and stuff like that. But it's also nice and clean if you don't count noise pollution. And yeah, like drunks kicking bottles down the alley at 3 a.m. In traffic. But and then I think I also plopped down like a convention center over here or something like that. Like we have a nice convention center here in Denver. It's one of the things that like it's kind of funny, like the mayor back when Hickenlooper was mayor, he wrote an open letter to the citizens of Denver saying that we're a bunch of assholes, like that we were like really abusive to tourists, and that people do come to Denver, like they want to go to, like, they, you know, we have our nice convention center and people come here for conventions, and they and then they do, and I don't feel like we're assholes to the people that come to like conventions, you know, and stuff like that, or like business travel and things like that. But I mean, it's like if somebody came to like Detroit, you know, and they're like, hey, what's good here? And you're like, you know, yeah, I mean, like I'm like busting on like Republicans, people from Detroit. Like I don't think that this is gonna go over well on YouTube. But yeah, so there you go. That's the completed wagon wheel design, and and yeah, again, you know, just going through the motions, like upgrading things. I gotta have my nice convention center though. Gotta have a nice convention center in the downtown, next to all the dense commercial. I mean, there isn't any demand for it right now. Like, I think I'm trying to make that demand, like putting parks in and making it nice so that I can have my nice convention center. Like here in Denver, we Comic-Con is a big deal. Beer Fest is a big deal. Or like the Kentucky Derby, you see all those stupid women running around with their gigantic hats. They look like a bunch of idiots. But it also happens at the same time as Comic-Con. So it's like you see all these people that are dressed up in, like, you know, like Batman and like anime and stuff like that, and then you see all the women with the gigantic hats, and then sometimes you, like, the line gets a little blurred. You know, you're like, is that woman like Harley Quinn, or is she just going out for the races? You know, so either way, kind of basic, but yeah, hitting my milestones. And then yeah, but the pollution, I think this is where I zoomed out, and I finally decided, I'm like, yep, that's disgusting. Gotta do something about that. Yeah. Convention center, that's the one that you want. Put it down. Put down the convention center. No, not a Statue of Wealth. Convention center. Those things cost money. But yeah, so I'm gonna cut ahead to where I zone the commercial pie slice. So I've got my my offices going. I've got my college going, and probably had a little bit of an educated workforce going for a little while, but didn't have the offices for them to work in. So I'm finally plopping down my offices, and oddly enough, I think in Skylines, office districts don't seem to care that much about pollution either, which I don't think that's true. I mean, if you want to believe that, you go ahead, but I mean, would you want to work in like a polluted office district, like a tech center area? But so yeah, the commercial pie slice, I think I started out originally kind of like cutting and pasting as I was before, with the industry next to the highway, but now I'm putting my my offices next to the highway because I need some area for educated workforce. But what ended up happening was I ended up developing that area more and turning it into more of like a dense commercial district. Yeah, it's interesting how the industry, that's like they're the one thing that just doesn't care about pollution at all, but it seems like putting down parks next to them makes a huge impact on how much they upgrade. So as I'm filling out these areas more, I think I decided to do 2 office districts because I had a glut of educated workers. I had plenty of educated workers, and there was not enough uneducated workforce to do all the work in the farms. Like, you notice that if you look in the office buildings, they're all upgrading slowly but surely. You know, ding ding ding. But my farms don't have enough farmers, so I'm trying to meet the demand, and then also turning everything in the city center into like denser stuff, and still no traffic problems, even with lots of dense residential. And I think this is where I finally plopped down my convention center and my dense commercial. So the office districts are meeting industry demand, which is cool. Like, I like that. I like that Skylines, they understand that people who do work in offices and things like that they do have industrial value. They do create things like goods and services. Like in the US, we mostly have a service economy, and that's like educated people. It isn't all manufacturing. Like when you talk about industry and GDP and things like that, like we have tons and tons of GDP in our country, and a lot of it is service industry, people who are educated workers who do service jobs in office buildings. I'm getting political again. Yes, this city management stuff, it brings out the tyrant in me. So yeah, finally got my my convention center going, and then I think that it makes the residential unhappy to be right next to it, which makes sense, but commercial, like to if you're in business, having a nice convention center is a nice thing. It's a nice draw for if you want to have a convention, show off your products or whatever, sell. But yeah, this is about as far as I got, like developing things on this one island before I decided to try to expand to another island and figure out how to do something with that highway interchange system. And I think I also wanted to make one island that was like a big park, like maybe have it charge admission and then have people, I don't know, camp, do whatever there, some kind of nice like park island, maybe an amusement park, who knows. Oh, a stadium. Yeah, a stadium too, downtown. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. If people are watching this, I think I'll keep going. I'll make more. Yeah, thanks for stopping by my channel.